Tae-u is pure evil. Will Yee-jae slay the monster who slaughtered his girlfriend? Let's find out in Season 1, Episode 5 of Death's Game. How's it? I'm Evie and I recap the best K-dramas for you. If that's your vibe, hit subscribe. Let's tuck in. In an abandoned building, a man live streams his capture of the famous criminal Gi-hak, but everyone in the chat believes this to be a hoax.
Stop the cap!
His colleague records as he beats the deviant with a baseball bat. Suddenly, a tall figure emerges from the shadows. He subdues the cameraman, then attacks the live streamer with his own bat. "Who are you?" croaks the streamer before his assailant knocks him out cold. The tall man rescues Gi-hak and explains that he's a painter looking for materials for his next work of art. Gi-hak is his material.
Out of the frying pan.
And into the fire. Run! Run!
Panicking, Gi-hak lies that they've reached his home so he can drop him off immediately. The painter doesn't buy it. As Gi-hak slumps unconscious in his seat, the painter simply smirks. Gi-hak opens his eyes and finds himself restrained on an operating table, surrounded by blank canvas. Casually, the painter picks up a chainsaw. He harbors no ill will towards Gi-hak, no.
I do this for the love of the game.
Gi-hak's guttural screams pierce through the noise of the screeching chainsaw, and as the painter works on Gi-hak's legs, blood splatters on the canvas. The painter examines his art in satisfaction. Returning to Chugum's domain, Yee-jae is in anguish over Jisu's execution at the hands of the insane CEO, Tae-u. He intends to get revenge on that monster, but for now, Chugum will do. Leaping onto the desk, Yee-jae aims the gun at her head and pulls the trigger. Chugum goes limp and Yee-jae turns the weapon on himself, but try as he might, he can't return to the land of the living. "Is there a problem?" Chugum inquires genially. Of course Yee-jae can't destroy the Grim Reaper.
Fire cannot kill a dragon.
Furious, Yee-jae curses Chugum for using her godlike abilities to torture him. Chugum corrects him that she's not a god, she's just taken this particular form to converse with humanity. In the blink of an eye, Chugum morphs into a zombie, then into Jisu. Yee-jae can't bear to look at her, so Chugum grabs his face, forcing him to. She explains that Jisu did nothing worthy of punishment, but was destined to meet her end at that exact place and time. All Chugum did was ensure that Jisu got to know her fellow victim.
This is cold. Even by your standards, this is cold.
"Shall we resume the game?" Chugum asks smoothly. Yee-jae's enthusiastic assent prompts Chugum to remind him that she will intervene if he takes Tae-u's life. Willing to take his chances no matter how futile the attempt might seem, Yee-jae vows to cheat death. Chugum is just like,
You're an imbecile.
and sends him off for round number 8. When Yee-jae awakens, his hands are covered in blood. He looks up at his new face in the mirror and it belongs to the sadistic painter. Exploring the House of Horrors with its sickening depictions of human suffering, putrid odor, and wide array of bone saws, Yee-jae concludes,
Oh hell no!
The memory crystal slowly rises from a bucket of blood and soars towards Yee-jae. His new host is named Gyuchul. Ever since childhood, he's had a talent for drawing, but the world never appreciated his gifts. One day, Gyuchul happened upon a mesmerizing sight, a corpse. Gyuchul drew what he saw, and all around the world, the depraved elite spent millions on his artwork. From then on, he perfected his craft. Gyuchul found plenty of participants, 7 that the authorities are aware of, and 8 that they are not, and dumped their severed limbs in various locations.
You are evil!
With the full memories and abilities of this maniac, Yee-jae hurries to the bathroom to retch. His new host is unhinged, but he plans to use this monster to slay another monster. Speaking of Tae-u, he's practicing at the shooting range. When his employee's back is turned, Tae-u aims the weapon at him before changing his mind and bringing down a bird instead. Across town, Yee-jae revisits the place where he and Jisu were rammed into by Tae-u. Yee-jae overheard the conversation between Tae-u and his lawyer while he lay helpless on the ground. Tae-u urges his shady lawyer to take the blame for hitting the pedestrians since awkward questions would be raised about Tae-u's sobriety. With the assurance of financial compensation and a lucrative career once out of prison, the lawyer agrees to take the fall. He throws the car's memory card into a nearby drain and reports himself to the police. Tae-u tosses Jisoo's red pen into the drain as well, and Yee-jae, as Gyu-chul, recovers it. The next stop is the Taekang corporate headquarters, and Yee-jae is armed with a scalpel concealed in his jacket. At the reception desk, Yee-jae pretends to be a journalist and requests a meeting with Tae-u, but unfortunately, the boss is out on personal business. Disappointed, Yee-jae exits the building. If only he'd been a bit more patient, he would have seen Tae-u walking out of the elevator right behind him. Greeting his son in the lobby, Mr. Park advises Tae-u to attend the upcoming seminar to boost employee morale. Under his father's watchful eye, Tae-u puts on quite the performance of the friendly boss who's happy to share an elevator with his staff. No, family. During the seminar, the subject of psychopaths is being discussed. A staggering 21% of American CEOs have psychopathic traits, which is why they're so successful in their fields. They're unburdened by empathy. Since the CEO of their competitor is rumored to be a psychopath, the guest speaker playfully challenges Tae-u to take the test, and the audience applauds in encouragement. Although Tae-u takes an uncomfortably long time with the first question, being able to distinguish smiling faces, the guest speaker ultimately decides that Tae-u is not a psychopath.
Are you serious?
Meanwhile, outside, Yee-jae is watching a video about how wonderful Tae-u is when he gets a nosebleed and faints in the street. At the hospital, the doctor has grim news. Not only does Yee-jae have a brain tumor that's too advanced to treat, he only has a month left to live. The doctor is shocked by his patient's reaction, who guffaws and says he doesn't need more time than that.
That's weird.
As Yee-jae leaves the doctor's office, he receives a call from the art gallery that someone is desperate to buy one of his paintings. Yee-jae is appalled that anyone would want to buy Gyu-chul's work until he hears that the eager customer is Tae-u. When Yee-jae arrives at the gallery, he finds Tae-u engrossed in a painting which bears a striking resemblance to the bad place that Chugum showed Yee-jae in episode 1. I suppose Gyu-chul was painting his future home. Honored to meet such a genius, Tae-u recognizes Gyu-chul's god complex and sees himself in the artwork. When Yee-jae jokes that he's ended many lives to create this artwork, Tae-u is offended by the tasteless remark. With the gallery closing soon, Yee-jae contemplates using the scalpel right then and there, but Chugum's words haunt him. I will intervene. The mission is interrupted when Tae-u's assistant arrives to remind him of the scheduled meeting with his father. Seeing a golden opportunity to get closer to Tae-u, Yee-jae agrees to sell the hideous painting and personally deliver it to his home. He also extends a generous invitation to his studio, where he'll make a masterpiece just for Tae-u.
Excellent.
Sometime later, Tae-u enters a church, and I'm surprised that he doesn't spontaneously combust given how despicable he is. He's there to attend the memorial service of the brother he assassinated in episode 1. As his father gives the eulogy, Tae-u recalls the conversation he had with his brother about what he did to their childhood housekeeper's baby. Jin-tae saw it all and told their father how Tae-u had covered the wailing infant's mouth to shut him up. Although the baby survived the incident, he still needed surgery. Not only is Jin-tae aware that Tae-u takes pills to stop hearing the baby's cries, he also knows that Tae-u hides the pills in his fountain pen. Angry that his brother has been watching him so closely, Tae-u shoves him against the wall. Unfazed, Jin-tae suggests that he should get clean, though it might be difficult for someone as weak-willed as him. My will is stronger than you can ever imagine, Tae-u replies coldly. That's why I've kept you alive for so long. In addition, Tae-u reveals to Jin-tae that he's mistaken about the purpose of the pills. They serve to quiet the voices that goad him to take lives. In the present day, Tae-u is bored out of his mind listening to his father's tearful speech about the loss of his beloved Jin-tae. He leaves the memorial service early, exasperated that everyone keeps prattling on about that fool, when he receives a call from his assistant. He was right. The psychopath test during the seminar was orchestrated by his father. Tae-u hangs up and ingests a handful of pills from his fountain pen. Under the influence of the medication, Tae-u zooms along the highway in his sports car. Two detectives on a snack break see Tae-u whiz past, and Ji-hoon gives chase, though his wary partner would prefer that the traffic police handle this mess. We've seen this lazy detective before in episode 3, when Yee-jae's host Tae-sang took the blame for the hit and run that Tae-u was responsible for. Tae-u continues to drive dangerously and only brakes at the end of a blocked road. Approaching the reckless driver alone, Ji-hoo requests his identification card. He also wants Tae-u to take a sobriety test. Meanwhile, his partner waits in the car, unbothered by a trivial speeding ticket. Although the breathalyzer tested negative, Ji-hoo notices the driver's odd behavior and instructs him to step out of the vehicle for inspection. Tae-u finds Ji-hoon's meddling irksome, and the old detective, who has finally decided to leave the car, whispers to his inexperienced partners to stand down. They shouldn't try to take on the CEO of Taekang. Sure enough, with a single phone call to the police commissioner, Tae-u is off the hook. Ji-hoon is forced to apologize and receives 5 sharp slaps from Tae-u for good measure.
Oh!
His cowardly partner makes no attempt to stop the attack out of fear for his job. Before departing, Tae-u throws money at Ji-hoon as injury compensation and commends the old man for minding his manners. Tae-u then speeds all the way home to find Yee-jae waiting for him. Clearly trying to aggravate him, Yee-jae places his foot on the sports car to brush the dust off his shoes, and Tae-u is just like,
So you have chosen death.
In a menacing tone, Tae-u warns Yee-jae that there are no security cameras where they are. Oh, Yee-jae is well aware because he checked. Losing his temper, Tae-u punches Yee-jae to the ground, and in response, Yee-jae spits on the back of his head. Ew! A scuffle ensues, and Yee-jae whoops Tae-u so thoroughly that the only way Tae-u can fight back is to retrieve his shotgun from the car. Yee-jae runs for it, but Tae-u successfully brings him down. Strutting over to the arrogant artist, Tae-u turns him over, grumbling all the while about the hassle of body disposal. In an instant, Yee-jae springs into action. He kicks Tae-u, sprints to the supercar, and drives around the premises like Dominic Toretto.
That was diabolical!
Eventually, after he's had his fun, Yee-jae gets out of the car and steals the shotgun while showing Tae-u the bulletproof vest he's wearing. He came prepared for the evening's activities, and nothing will interrupt their special plans. With relish, Yee-jae kicks Tae-u in the head, knocking him out. Alone at Gyucheol's art studio, Yee-jae confides that he's ended the lives of 15 people and describes exactly what he's going to do to Tae-u. I'll spare you the gory details, but just know it's an agonizing way to go, and Tae-u's hands tremble. As Tae-u surveys the grotesque studio, there's a sudden thud a short distance away. Tae-u turns around and sees that his captor has collapsed. When Yee-jae regains consciousness, he's strapped to the operating table. Initially, Tae-u thought that Yee-jae was bluffing, but he really does have an enviable playground. Since they're swapping war stories, Tae-u talks about his adventures. The first life he took was entirely accidental. 7 years ago, a crazed man stood in front of oncoming traffic and Tae-u hit him. The young man frantically calling for an ambulance? Yee-jae. This was the day of the disastrous interview at Taekang, which forever changed him. As the crazed man pleaded for help, Tae-u would be forever changed by the reverent expression on the dying man's face. The feeling of being looked at like a god was electrifying, but no matter how many people he ran over, none have gazed upon him that way again. Turns out Yee-jae's gruesome description of his plans for Tae-u made him tremble in anticipation, not terror. He wants to play too. Chainsaw in hand, Tae-u orders Yee-jae to beg for mercy, and in defiance, Yee-jae spits in his face.
Hey!
Livid, Tae-u begins to work on Yee-jae's legs. This part is really gross, and I'll spare you the gory details of how Yee-jae's suffering is exhilarating to Tae-u. Yee-jae returns to Chugum's domain breathless and quivering. Taking a rather optimistic view on his worst experience yet, Chugum is of the opinion that Yee-jae should count himself lucky.
Are you sure about that?
Had he ended Tae-u, she would have thrown him straight into the bad place. In the eerie gloom of her domain, Yee-jae's deranged laughter rings loudly. You went through all of that on purpose? Chugum asks in disbelief. Elsewhere, in the land of the living, Tae-u cleans himself off cheerfully, oblivious to the security cameras in the studio capturing his every move. How will Yee-jae use the footage to his advantage? Watch episode 6 in my Death's Game playlist. Yee-jae is going scorched earth.